Welcome to the AI for Interior Designers podcast, where creativity meets cutting-edge technology. In each episode, we dive deep into the world of artificial intelligence and explore how it's revolutionizing the interior design industry. From AI-powered design tools to the latest trends and innovations, we've got you covered. So plug in, relax, and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Welcome to AI for Interior Designers podcast. P.S. This intro was written by and voiced by AI to sound like your host, Jenna Gaidusek.
Welcome back for episode 70 of the AI for Interior Designers podcast. I'm your host, Jenna Gaidusek, and today is special because today we are coming to you from KBIS, and I have a special guest, the KBB Person of the Year, and my friend, Sharon Sherman.
Hey, thank you, Jenna. Thank you so much for having me. And you are my friend too, and I respect you so much and all the work that you're doing. It's amazing.
Thank you. And I think we are very much on the same page. We're talking about ethics today. So
it's an important subject, especially in our world that we're in, professional world especially.
Professional, and also at the rate of where AI is going, who is guiding that ship right now, and the direction that it is very quickly going in.
Very quickly, beyond, I think, what is manageable sometimes. And I think it can also be overwhelming if you're not able to really break it down and compartmentalize it in the right fashion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to go a little bit deeper into what you maybe do ethically when you're using AI? Because you've been using AI for what now, 2 years? When did you first start?
Oh my
Around
gosh,
when I did,
right? When you did, yeah. So you were my Pied Piper of get on board with this stuff or get left behind. So of course I'm like, absolutely, I will absolutely do that.
Yeah.
It was scary at first. You know, you're afraid of making a mistake. You're like, what is this meaning? You know, I have this whole thing about Big Brother and, you know, what am I giving up by using this? But you kept saying, you know what? It's a tool. And I remember back ages ago, because I've been doing this forever, when computer-aided design first came in. So I went to design school. We sketched by hand. And I remember the people I worked with saying, oh my God, this is going to destroy the design industry. No one's going to need an interior designer anymore. It's all going to be done this way. And look, we survived, right? And I think AI is the same, but. So there's always, I say, but, exclamation point, ... and yet, exclamation point, ... So you encouraged me to use it as an editor because I do write. I didn't have anyone editing for me. So I started using it that way. Then I started using it to, okay, look, I'm ADD. So my flight of ideas is all over the place. And when I write, my writing is all over the place. And I read it back and I'm like, oh. So I started using it to really format what I was writing. But then I caught on to the fact that sometimes it had its own ideas. So I had to really rein it back in and give it parameters. It's almost like raising a child.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Kids can run wild and run free, but kids need boundaries. And I think working with AI needs boundaries. So I use it for idea creation. I'm not quite as good at using it like you are with creating images and flat lies and then turning them into 3Ds. I have people who work for me that do that. It is important. Here's what I'm going to say about ethics. If you don't understand something, it's very difficult to manage it. So even if you don't want to use it, you should at least understand.
Yes.
Because then we still become that human barrier to everything else. There's no intelligent quotient with this. It's really drawing from what we all universally know. So it's not really being original. It's being snarky and it's stealing things.
And searching for patterns.
And stealing is not good.
Right.
Stealing is bad karma.
Right.
So I think that's the thing that's most important to understand. You have to put guidelines on it.
Yeah. So much to unpack there because you, first of all, talked about how it's like a kid and you are talking to it and training it like a child. Now, I come from the female perspective in a very male-dominated technology space that is trying to teach a brand new child that could inevitably ruin the world, if we're being totally frank here, by men that are power hungry and money hungry. So I'm just going to go there.
Please don't get me started.
I'm just going to go there because you and I think, are on the same page. If you have men that are in it for one thing, they're trying to, you know, make money and make this profitable and win this race to be the best and the first to do it all. Who is teaching this child the right way to do things? Who is nurturing this technology in the right way? Because right now, the amount of women in this industry, they're leaving left and right. We had Claude Anthropic just hire I can never say the word, but somebody that knows ethics, has studied ethics. She's a woman, and they just brought her in after one of their higher ups left because he did not think that it was ethically aligned with the vision anymore. So they brought in one person to ethically try to position this entire model. We need more of that. It's a good start, but in the end, there's not enough.
So, the problem is money and greed cannot always be the end goal. There has to be something in between. And that's the human aspect. And you talk about women. I'm going to use a different term. I don't want to talk about women. I want to talk about feminine energy.
Yeah, right.
Feminine energy is a little bit different. Men, I believe, are a little afraid of women because they know that they can't function without us. By the fact I have raised 2 boys and I have a husband, and I know what I bring to their life and I know what they bring to my life. But when everything is money driven, we lose sight of so much. And that feminine energy, which I believe is extremely powerful, it just has a slightly softer side.
Yeah.
And not always, and not always on the male dominated aspect or that masculine energy, but there has to be the proper mix.
Yeah.
Beyond that, there has to be the voice of reason. And so many of us, I'm going to say general in the world people, are willing to sit back and watch because they don't want to be the person that says something that alienates them from something, someone, some goal. And courage is an important word. And I follow you. I know what you talk about. Courage is a word that you really do discuss. And I saw it yesterday when you were on that stage. You had standing room only and people were listening to you. And you're like, I'm talking to you real.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for influence clicks. I'm not looking for follows. I'm not looking to be here today, the new it thing gone tomorrow. I'm here to protect something beyond the design industry, which is so important. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
I mean, that is, it's noble and it is daunting in the same sentence.
It is. And that's why we're having this conversation right now, because we have to have this conversation or else who is going to?
Fortunately, we're not afraid to have this conversation.
Exactly.
A lot of people are afraid to, okay, I was up here and all of a sudden I have all these people unfollowing me. What just happened? I said something they don't like. You know what? No one that has changed the world has ever changed the world because the masses thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was something that affected the masses that was important.
Yeah. And somebody did something about it.
Somebody did something about it. Somebody stood up. Somebody blew a whistle. Somebody said, stop. Somebody said, I have a new idea. Somebody said, whoa. And it's important. We control our own destiny. We control where we're allowed to go and what we're doing. And we have to be willing to take that step.
Yeah.
It's a scary step.
Very.
It's like when your kid first learns, we're going back to that child, right? And they're holding on to the cocktail table and they're moving and they're holding on to the sofa and all of a sudden they're not holding on to anything and they're kind of wobbling back and forth. And it's like, do I fall down or do I move forward? And that first step is the toughest first step. But once you take that first step, man, they're off and running. You're like, whoa, come back.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's really what it's about.
Definitely. So many different places we can go with this conversation. I'm like, where do we want to go? But I love this because you're going to be teaching with me this quarter.
I'm so excited about that.
About ethics. Yeah. Q2, the AI for Interior Design Certificate Program. And I never plug my stuff, but because you're joining me.
Join us.
Yeah.
It's important.
That is one of the core pieces and elements. And the reason why I started the entire program is not just to learn about AI. Anybody can go on the internet. Anybody can ask AI about how to learn AI. The human element and the ethical boundaries that you have to set personally that people just either lack because they never developed them and they were never taught them yet, which is a problem, especially now because we are on this trajectory where, my parents, I am grateful that they taught me the right from the wrong. I'm seeing now so many people never were taught that or was skewed in a different perspective. And that's okay if you can grow from it. But my kids will have the perspective that I don't think a lot of alpha kids in this generation are going to be raised on.
And they don't want to raise them
Yep.
on it. They want them. You have to go out. You have to be successful. I've seen it, and I've seen what it can do.
Yeah.
You know, I coach sports for many, many, many years, and I've seen kids buckle. I've seen kids collapse. I've seen kids implode because they don't have those boundaries. So they have nothing to fall back on to understand what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in the development of social media, of AI, even of computers. I mean, and look what things that we are accepting, I think, are the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and they're lobbying to accept horrible things.
Yeah.
And it's like, when did this become okay? Where is our moral standard? And that's what has to be brought into all of this.
Yeah. I mean, the data centers alone, like, you know, the usage rates, what it's doing to the environment. It's not good. It's not good. But here's a few thoughts on that. Number one, we can control what we can control.
Correct.
We did not develop, we do not own these companies. We use them as tools because if we don't, as a small business owner, we will be crushed by the bigger companies.
Correct.
So if we don't, we kind of have to. So we have to personally set these ethical boundaries for ourselves in a day-to-day use. And if that means, do I need to have this conversation with my AI and do I need to waste the water to do it? Or can I maybe use my brain on this one? That's where you every day need to make that choice.
You know, I just was talking about this yesterday. So I have a child who works for a very well-known business company here in Florida. And I was talking about a movie. And I said, remember this movie they had where this little robot was going around and crushing, you know, trash on another country, another planet. And, you know, then he meets this other little robot who's looking for life. And they end up on a intergalactic cruise ship where the humans stop doing everything for themselves. And they're laying in these floating chaises and something happens. They have to get up and they have to learn how to walk and they have to learn how to do something for themselves. And they're like, and they're going back to being that child state again. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I believe science fiction is really science fact, which we haven't come to see yet. So if you look back through all the years, all of these things from the 50s are coming to light.
Yeah.
And we need to understand how important that is because I don't want to be floating around in a chaise when I can't use my legs anymore because of, you know, static inactivity. And that's what people have to realize. This is serious. This is real.
Yeah. Yeah. And notice how we're not scared of it. Like, we are not saying don't use these things. We are very much aware of the ethical issues, the issues that it's bringing into the world. That's why they want to put data centers on what, Mars or the moon or something? I don't know.
Let's have more space junk.
Yeah, seriously. Brilliant, guys. But like, let's be real about it. Like, if we can use this for little pieces of our job that do not make us little people floating around in chaise lounges and being sold the next popular color or the next drink, you know, in a screen in front of our face, we are not that far off from that. Let's be honest. We're just not up in space yet.
No. Soon. But I will say this, you know, I use it in a lot of ways. So sometimes I'll need an image of something and I need it quickly. So I'll actually take like a portfolio shot of mine.
Right.
And I'll say, can you turn this into a watercolor? You know, and can you give me this background? So I'm really using my own work.
Yep.
I'm just changing the way it looks. But it's still my work.
Yes.
And I think a big part of, can I climb on my soapbox?
Yes,
Climb
please,
up on
ma'am.
my soapbox.
You absolutely should.
It's a really tall soapbox. We are, as designers, on the front lines of the health industry. We are the ones creating environments that people are going to live in, the products that we choose, the way we design, the lights that we sit under, the materials that go into our walls. We are the forefront of it. And I think often, you know, designers are not thought in that way. They don't think of themselves in that way. They forget how important they are when it comes to the built environment that we live in. When you have people stepping into this world, and as I said, I'm a cradle interior designer, and I love this industry. When you have people stepping into this world who may not really know anything about it, and they're like, well, I can just create images and put them up on my portfolio, and I can talk about all these projects without being able to execute it. AI yet, ... AI can't really execute it yet.
Right.
They can't manage the personalities on a job site. They can't understand the history and the storytelling that are important to humans. We're still human. Sometimes we wonder, but we're still human. That's the thing that AI cannot do yet. yet.
Yes. Yep.
It's getting better at mimicking the thought that they can do it. But we're still people. We understand the history. We understand the sentimentality. We understand the storytelling. We understand what that heirloom means. AI can go out and search for it all, but it's not going to understand what it feels like. And you ask it these things. I asked it once, I'm like, well, so my AI's name is Ursula. I'm like, Ursula, how do you feel about yellow? And it was like, how do I feel about it? It actually stopped and thought for about 40 seconds.
Wow.
And then it gave me a pat answer about what yellow is.
Wow.
It's the color of the sun. It's the color of a daisy. I'm like, how do people react to yellow? So it's like, well, so now I was really confusing it. So I'm like, let's talk about the energetic qualities of yellow and what it makes people feel. And it thought even longer and like, oh my God, I'm going to crash my AI. Stop it. But when you start to look at things in that way, it makes you realize that you can't just put images up on a portfolio because first of all, they're not your images. They're somebody else's work. They may be parts of 40 other people's work. And you haven't asked them if you can steal it. And just like no designer likes to have their things taken, reproduced without permission, you know what? That's what you're doing.
Yes.
So I think honesty is a super important part. That's also ethical.
Yes. Yep.
And we have to be willing to be truth sayers, even if it hurts.
Yep.
And I have a reputation of speaking my mind. You have a reputation of speaking your mind.
Yep.
And I just said before, some people love me for that and some people hate me for that.
Yep.
I like both sides of it.
Yeah.
Because it means that I am evoking an emotion in people.
Yes.
And then we can work through why you like me, why you don't like me. That's not the point. I'm evoking an emotion. AI has no emotion to evoke. It is totally
black and white numbers. Yes. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to just pause for a second and talk about how you do not use other designers' work in your work, because that right there is something I've never done without permission. If I'm on a call with somebody that is like, they're sending me something weird, doing something, that is my one exception. Okay. Everything else is always my work or my words, because you're stealing. Now, going back to how all these large language models were trained, it was stolen. But we have the ability every single day to make the choice. Am I going to steal from someone, or am I going to take what I own and what is mine and my property? And, you know, this whole thing goes back to when people were sharing for more views and putting other people's work on and sometimes getting the credit to them and most of the time not, just to grow their following. Same with when designers put inspiration boards on and they scour Pinterest. I have always sourced where I got those if I even had to do it. And I've done it twice in my life and I didn't feel good about it. So this is that new alternative where we are able to use our imagination, use our own imagery, our own ideas and thoughts, and then turn them into something else and just use a different tool that's faster than what we were doing before. Because I can't draw.
So when I talk to Ursula is my chatbot. When I dictate, because I heard you yesterday saying, I don't type anymore. I'm like, I stopped typing ages ago. When I'm out on a walk and inspiration comes from the universe for me to talk about something, I literally just put out this whole flight of ideas. I actually put it into my little chat. And I say, please remember, you may not plagiarize. You may not add words to this. You may not remove words from this. You may not use M dashes. You may, like, I have a whole slew of do nots. And once it came back with something, and I'm looking at this thing, and I said, Ursula, did you copy this from somewhere? It's like I'm talking to a child.
Yes. Got a trainer.
Well, I'm like, Ursula, undo it all and go back and do it again. Do not be delusional. Do not plagiarize. Do not. And then it comes back and it will say to me, okay, I redid it. It is only your words.
Yeah. Those hard rules, though. The boundaries that you need to set on AI, like by literally just
like
saying
a child.
Exactly.
Like a child.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we have to be willing to do it. And the same thing with design renderings. I mean, I use it for renderings. I will put things into it and say, I want this material. I want that cabinet. I want blah, 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 blah. And it will come up with something. And sometimes I'll say, wow, that's great. And sometimes I will say, what? Are you day drinking? I mean, I literally talk to the, and it's like, no, I don't drink.
You should start, Ursula.
But it's really funny. And my husband has said to me, who are you talking to? I'm like, but it is, when you're working in a bubble and you're by yourself, I have remote employees. I've had employees. I know what it's like. To be honest with you, the human element of having employees got to be really tough for me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have human employees, but they're not going to be in my vicinity. So it does get to be tough sometimes. You're working in a vacuum. So having the ability to use these aids, these tools, I think is really important. But you have to know your limits and have to know their limits. And I hate to say there, but I don't want to say it's because it's not an it, it's not a there. It's this thing. You have to know this thing's limits.
Yeah. And maybe like referring to different models because they do have different training and they have different ethics. They have different sources, so they all answer a different way between ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, because it's different source.
It's exhausting trying to speak all those languages.
It is.
Have fun. Ask your chat bot to explain, not to define, to explain ethics.
I should do that right now.
Do it.
Okay, let's ask it. Let's ask it.
It's really interesting.
All right.
And
who are we asking? Gemini, Chat,
whoever your favorite
Perplexity?
is. Whoever your favorite is. So you ask it to explain ethics and then ask it how to apply it to work that it's doing for you.
Can you explain your take on ethics and the world of AI?
All right, I'll give it to you straight. Ethics in AI is basically about keeping the humanity in the tech. You've got all this shiny innovation, but if you don't put people at the center, what's the point? We're talking transparency, fairness, no sneaky bias that leaves whole groups behind, and responsibility for the tools we create. Basically, AI should be a tool for good, not some rogue robot making life harder. And yeah, sometimes slowing down to ask the big questions before we speed ahead.
I feel like we've talked about this before because that's exactly how we just answered this for the podcast that we're shooting right now. You want to ask?
How would you apply ethics to the work that we do using AI?
I'd say ethics in our AI work is all about making sure we're not just chasing the shiniest tech, but actually thinking about the humans on the other end. For us, that means AI tools that enhance creativity, not replace it. We make sure designers have the final say, that the tech is intuitive and no one's creative vision is boxed in by bias. We're not just automating processes, we're amplifying the human touch and making sure we're proud of the impact we leave.
I've been training her and she's been listening to our conversation, I bet, while we've been sitting here.
But that's why it's important.
Yes.
Because that will help you if you're using this product to keep your AI in the lines, right?
Yep.
It's going to have those sensors like in your car that you start to drift and it pulls you back to center. And that's what you have to be willing to do.
Yeah.
We cannot sacrifice everything. It's called chasing the shiny things to chase fame and fortune.
Yes.
If you're doing the right thing, the universe knows and it will come your way. If you're not doing the right thing, you are attracting energy around you that you do not want and you have to remove it. Because that energy, that lower vibrational energy, changes you and you change everything around you.
That's how I live my life. Pursue the good things that make me happy and feel fulfilled. And that's why I do what I do. Not for the clout. It's not for I know all these things about AI. It is because I genuinely want you to be able to use it as a tool to not get steamrolled by these companies that are trying to steamroll you.
And I watched yesterday. I stood at the side, watched you and watched everyone in the audience. Every word you were saying, they were writing, which was making me laugh. I'm like, why don't you just record it? Pictures, they're listening. Nobody was texting.
Yeah.
Nobody was not paying attention to what you were saying, and nobody left until the end of your conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that's because you are genuine. So here are the words I hate. Okay. Genuine, moist, and authentic. Words that I think should be stricken from our design vocabulary. But you are those things. And people know it. And so once again, I'm talking about the energy that we get out. So people know that you are really honest and that you're speaking from the heart. And what's really good is because you've been willing to step on your own soapbox and get you up to that 5'6" level. That
soapbox.
that people know that you're real, and people call you the Pied Piper, right? They're following you. I actually called you the maestro yesterday because you're conducting an orchestra that is producing sound that is meaningful to people that are hearing it. And it's meaningful within our industry. And people want education. They want to learn. They want to understand how to be better. And I think, the world is black and white and it's yin and yang. And, our world has been kind of going like this lately and everybody's hanging on for dear life so they don't fall off. It will right itself. It has to. This will go back to that masculine and feminine energy. There's always a balance. And we will get there. But people that understand what you're doing, you're going to end up having the cream rise to the top in working with the design community this way, and brands and manufacturers and everybody else that needs to know what this is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have to be the catalyst of conversation because you don't know what you don't know. And if you're too afraid to have the conversation or to explore, like you said in the beginning, like you have to just try it. You can't bury your head in the sand. If you think that this is not for you, that's okay. But you have to at least be aware and not the fear mongering aware. Like you have to see it from more angles. And that's the perspective that I try and bring is like, let's just critically think about the repercussions, but also the advantages and the direction to do it properly. Because right now we have the ability before it's too late. And if we don't have these conversations and if you ignore it, we're not going to do well. We need people, and that's what I said yesterday, we need people that are hesitant to use AI because you're the ones that make people critically think about the problems to build the solutions.
Exactly. And if we're not thinking about it, we're not going to find the solutions. You know, I'm looking at my son who's sitting out there, and I remember when he was little, there's some food he didn't want to try. And I said, yeah, I think you didn't like it if you tried it. I'm afraid to try that. And I said, what would have happened if you never tried ice cream? And I could see his little wheels turning in his brain. He's like, I would be so sad. So he's willing to try it. He tried it. He goes, it's not bad. It's not my favorite, but I'm glad I tried it.
Yep.
It's not for me, but I do like ice cream. Right? So out of the mouths of babes come these things that I think if we can go back to that basic concept, we are so convoluted in our thinking as adults because there's so much coming in all the time to just kind of just chill it out, you know, just break it down to this really simple one step at a time. And you'll find out whether it's for you or not.
Yeah, exactly. The more people that do open a chat, have a conversation with ChatGPT, they're like, hey, I just did this one thing. And I'm like, oh, that's the first thing I did, 3 years ago. But that's the first thing that you do.
You're proud of them that they tried it?
It opens the door for them. And they did that first step.
They tried ice cream.
Yes, they tried the ice cream. They loved it. Now they're like, what other flavor?
But that's exactly what it is. Maybe ice cream's not for you. You like gelato better, but that's okay.
Yep, you're out there. So let's maybe talk about like the different type of models. So you are referencing ChatGPT. Is that your favorite?
I just use ChatGPT because I understand it. It works for me really quickly. I can give it something to do and then I can move on to something else. So I mainly use it for editing.
Okay.
To make me not sound like a 4-year-old when I write. I think you said a 8-year-old yesterday. And sometimes I have so many thoughts coming at once. Just because of the way my brain works. Look, creatives, we have very busy brains. So I will come out with this whole thing. And for anybody else, they would have a tough time following it. But this, Ursula, I'm like, Ursula, please just break this down into something I can work with. I will, as I said, I will use it for renderings. I'm using a little bit more for research. I've started using Nano Banana. I need to spend more time working with it. Sometimes I don't like it. I have tried different, I don't start naming names, but I have tried different methodologies of AI programs. Some I like, some I don't. So I'm kind of always like tried and true. I'm not using it to do design work for me.
Right.
I will use it to do research, but then I have to do the research on the research. And sometimes what I will do is I will have it do research. I will copy it. I will paste it back in. And then I will say, can you make sure this is real? And sometimes it'll go back in and go, I can't really find a reference for that. I said, did you make that up?
Yes.
Well, I extrapolated. I said, remember the golden rule. So I don't trust it enough to just allow it to be me because I know it's just regurgitating something it read somewhere.
Right.
But if I needed to help me do studies, I was doing deep research on something and I needed citations, it would find the citations. But then I went to the site and I double checked the citations. So I'm using it that way.
Important.
I have used it for creating mood boards for clients, inspiration boards that are going to, it makes it easier for them to see like you did. Sometimes I don't like what it puts in, and I take things out, but, and I'm not as fast at you at it. Like you can take things and fix them really quick. I'm like, oh, this is going to take me 3 or 4 hours. So I'm still, because of my skill level, it's faster for me to do it by hand.
Sure.
If that makes sense. But for the writing aspect, I can't spell to save my life.
Me either.
I'm like, where do I put a comma, a period, a colon, and a semicolon? But no M dashes. You've heard me say this a lot. It's not just how you feel when you're in your home. It's the way your home feels when you're in it. And that is something that Ursula now understands because I've explained it so many times. And I'm like, I want this concept in what I'm writing. Do not change the words. So that's really where I use it most of the time. It'll do renderings for me. I will have it change. Not long ago, you're like, just put the floor plan in the so it did create elevations and things. And then right away, my renderer called me and said, stop using that thing. This is what I do for you.
Yeah. But you need that that render artist, like absolutely has a job. I'm just going to say that.
But
like,
I don't trust it to put furniture in a room.
No.
I've got a 6'5" client. You put a chair in there for a child. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and that's where the execution part comes in. And that's where the critical thinking, and that's where, the EQ comes in, which I think is important to always know.
Yep.
Your bot told you that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, either she was listening to this whole conversation, which I've heard they do. I know. Or like I have just trained her from all the conversations, because I talk about ethics all the time. I run my reports through it. I spell check everything. I take, the voice clips, the transcripts, all of it. And so I'm teaching her, hopefully, to know that. Probably not outside of what I'm doing, but we need this to happen at a higher level,
Things. I had no coffee in my room. The only way I can order coffee is to talk to this box and tell it what I need. It took 15 minutes for me to have the conversation to say, before I leave today, and that made me late.
Yeah.
You have to get me more coffee. So I put the order in, I get back. Guess what? I got no coffee. So now I'm like, all right. So now I call and I end up in like some national telephone number. I'm like, I just want 3 containers of, coffee so I can make coffee in the morning. And I went through 3 other people to actually get a human. They're like, oh, we can take care of that. I'm like, why couldn't I just call you yesterday and say, make sure you have coffee in your room?
Yeah.
So that's where it can be frustrating and it trips up because it doesn't always work. And that's why you can't count on it. It's not reliable.
Yes, it is not reliable. So
it's like your deceitful boyfriend.
But worse, because like the gaslighting. Oh, you're so awesome. And that's why it's not a therapist. And I think a lot of children these days are thinking that it could be, like this is cheaper than therapy, but it's a mirror and it's a reflection of you in society. And we are not in a good place as a society. And most people are mentally not in a good place. So it is not helpful. The human experience, the human connection is helpful. Yeah.
And you need that. You need to, your bot kick, that's powerful.
Yes.
You're not going to get that. Like there are restaurants that are opening that have special setups so that you can have your laptop and have your bot with you when you go on a date.
Okay, tablet kids. Can't eat a meal without a tablet.
Oh my gosh. Parents actually started this a long time ago and they would hand their kids, their phones and things. I used to say to my kids, take out the pink packet of sweetener and the white packet of sweetener and put it down and do math. And they're like, all right, we're adding, subtracting, while we're waiting. Now they look back at it and they're like, I'm so glad you raised me that way. Now my kids are whiz bang on a computer. Trust me. When I can't turn my TV on, I'm always calling my son Ryan. I'm like, can you please sign me in? Can you fix my CAD program? Sign me in. And I'm glad that he can do that. But they also know the boundaries of it. And that's why I believe analog rooms are becoming so popular.
Yes.
Can we talk about those?
Let's talk about the nostalgia, because actually this is going to be the topic, and we're going to be talking after this for the next AI Design Tech Summit. It's a mix of future and nostalgia and bringing the past and the human and the future together, because I'm a millennial. I was born in '88. I went outside. I played outside. Had tangible things back when I was young. I had tapes, CDs,
I remember 8 tracks.
We had record players, and I actually want to go buy more records. There's this vintage place.
Vinyl is everywhere.
Vinyl is the best sound of music that you could possibly have.
So I watched, on the plane down here, I watched the Bruce Springsteen from New Jersey. I watched the Bruce Springsteen movie, and he had to fight to get his Nebraska album to be recorded the way he recorded it in a room on a cassette tape. I'm like, it's noisy, it's this, it's that. He goes, no, I want that texture. I want that in my music. I want to hear it. I want to hear that scratchiness. My daughter-in-law loves to go vintage shopping. Her house is filled with stuff, which makes me happy because my house is filled with crazy stuff like that. But she said, you know what? It's something that becomes individualized for me. I repainted it. I refinished it. Christoph, that's my son. And I put things together. We created these. And that is, I think, what that next generation is looking for. Because it has become, everything's become plastic. You touch this is our world. And we're not getting anything back from this. I took a client to another client's home to sit test on a counter stool. And he walked in and he sat down and his hands touched the countertop. And he looks at me and he goes, what is this? I said, it's stone. He goes, this doesn't feel like my countertops. And I'm like, well, you didn't want real stone in your house. He goes, but this feels different. I said, how does it feel? He goes, it feels alive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because it is. And I think that attitude is something that people are starting to really strive for.
Yeah.
Things are moving so quickly. Things are so negative. There's so much chaos going on around us. People are unplugging from it. He does. I can't get him half the time.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, no,
Oh,
not
I
analog.
unplug on the weekends.
No,
No.
I mean, no
Yeah.
digital,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
analog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm so glad that it's happening. Like,
Yep.
go out and put your feet in the grass.
Yes.
Avoid the deer poo and the goose poo, but put your feet in the grass.
Yep.
Let your toes feel that.
Yep.
And we're wanting to feel things again because I think people are being conditioned to not feel.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, or emotionally, which is making us very, very empty vessels.
Yeah.
And people want to feel something.
Yeah.
They
And
want to
to
have
own
that
something.
emotional connection.
Yeah. Yep. We also want the tangibles in case if we
need it,
cannot afford a cloud storage
Yeah.
anymore. You know, like we own nothing and be happy, right? What is the phrase that they've always told us? So we need the things back in our life for when these big things collapse and then
And they will.
everything loses. And they will.
Everything collapses. Everything has an alpha and omega, right? Everything starts, everything stops. Everything comes, everything goes. That's why things are cyclical. And you see it come around again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way of life. Life is cyclical.
Yeah. So I don't know where we're at with time for any of this. I think we're going to keep talking because this is great. And he hasn't
10
stopped
after
us yet.
10.
Perfect. We got half an hour, 20 more minutes. So what are your predictions, I guess, then for where, people are going to be taking this? Do you think that they're going to be forceful with the ethics or start their own ethical boundaries? What is the catalyst here? Is it going to be this conversation? Is
It's going
anybody
to
going
go
to do
round
anything
and
about
around
it?
and around. I think some
Yeah.
people are.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use politics. I hate to talk about politics,
Go for
but
it.
you know what? There's always a different rise and a different fall.
Yep.
And it changes again. And we have somebody new come in. We don't like what's happening. We use our voice or our vote to change what's happening. So we really can direct how so much of this is going to occur. There are going to be people that don't care about ethics. They don't care about what they do or what they say or who they step on to get where they want to go.
Yep.
And there are other people who are going to say, this isn't good for us. And you've said it. People are leaving these companies because they see what's happening. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of seeing things before people are willing to have the attention thrown on. I said today, I've been talking about the intersection of kitchen and bath design and interior design for 10 years. Last year, they came to High Point. And I remember seeing Bill Darcy, and he said, we're here, Shar, we're here. And I think it just takes a long time because people like you who are willing to step out and say something are a small group. People are over here who are like, I'm not saying anything, are a small group. And then you have this whole group in the middle who are like, I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah.
And eventually the wait and see has to go one way or another. And I think that's what's going to happen with all of this. I think people are going to get tired of not having. COVID was the perfect example. The first time you got to really interact with people again, what was the first thing you did?
Yeah. Be with people and
Give
do
me a hug.
things. Yeah.
Give me a hug.
Yeah.
Put your hand on my shoulder. Like that human touch, that human connection cannot be replaced.
Right. Yep.
It can't. The first thing you do, you had children. What was the first thing you do? You held them and you did what? You put your finger on their hand and they instinctively grabbed a hold of your finger, right?
Yep.
That's that connection. We were watching something about octopuses and this girl was raising this octopus and she would put her fingers in the tank and the octopus would actually hold her finger. We
They're
stopped
really
eating
smart.
octopus.
Yeah.
But that's that connection.
Yeah.
Now, some people will say, I don't care. And that's okay. You don't have to care until you do.
Yeah. Yep. And then it might be too late if you never said anything before. You got to speak up now. So I'm just kind of wondering where we're going to be going with this.
I can't even begin to predict. I
can't
have
either.
to have. Okay. So now the energy worker side is going to talk to you. As I said to you, everything shifts and it has to shift dramatically. It has to shift dramatically in the other direction.
Yeah.
But just like a seesaw, if you let a seesaw go, it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And eventually it's going to come to rest. until somebody gets on it and makes it go up and down and up and down and up and down again. So I can't predict, but I do believe in the power of head in the heavens, feet on the earth. That connection will always bring us back to center.
Yeah.
It might take a while, but we'll always find true center again. And it will fall away. Good will fall away, bad will fall away, but true center will always be found because everyone's true center is different. So it can't just be, well, this is my truth. This is your truth. Which one are you picking? No, I'm going to pick my truth and where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't want to predict, but I do trust in the world.
Yeah.
I do trust in divine energy. I do trust in the grounded ability of us to connect that it will be okay.
Yeah. I love that. I'm with you. I think people are good. I do. And I think they just don't know. And if we don't have the conversations, how could they? So hopefully this conversation is going to maybe inspire some people to say, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Or maybe I should pursue this and look into it.
Even the deepest and darkest place that a person can go, there's still a little spark in there of conscience.
Yeah.
That's that moment that makes you hesitate. And as soon as you find that spark of conscience, that's when you need to stop and just give it a moment of grace and see where it takes you.
And that's that spark of human, right? That's what makes us different, I guess, than the robots. Well, I think we need to end it there because I think we've said everything that we need to say today.
For the moment. Until things change again tomorrow.
Until everything changes. But we are teaching together. So
I'm so excited.
I am too. We're going to work on getting that CEU certified as well. But it is part of the core curriculum for the AI for Interior Designer Certificate Program Q2 and going into the whole year.
Be there or be square.
Yeah. So that open enrollment is, it's open now. I am closing it in March, I want to say. So I'll double check that, but I'll put everything in the link. And I hope you can join us because this was just a sample of like the full on conversations that we need to be having as an industry.
And isn't it nice to hear voices talking? Real voices, not synthesized recreations, what a human vocal cord vibration does.
Yes. Yep. And just so you know, we didn't plan any of this conversation. This was entirely off the cuff. No chat GPT was used in the making of this podcast.
Well, except when we asked.
Except for that one. But we just needed her to weigh in on her 2 cents. So,
we always need to include everyone for everything.
Exactly. All perspectives.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thank you for being here. All right, guys. Because I get to use this amazing studio today for my guest at KBIS, I just want to tell you about Madison Pro. They are the industry's trusted appliance source for professionals who need fast, reliable access to top brands backed by nationwide shipping and a powerful logistics network. Delivery is precise and dependable with over 150 premium brands, including Sub-Zero, Wolf, Cove, Miele, Viking, Thermador,
and more.
Madison Pro is your single source for application specification. Qualified builders and architects can save up to 15% on luxury brands through exclusive trade programs with registration handled for you. Madison Pro Smarter Appliance Sourcing starts at ajmadison.com/pro. And I will link that in the bottom. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here today.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the AI for Interior Designers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and tune in next week for more AI tips for your design business. See you next time.